If you look at the polling, the people's faith in the federal government is at an all-time low. Why? Because they don't see that it's being done well.
Here, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is not understanding the definition of irony, no doubt. Mr. Speaker, you don't need to tell us how much we don't like you and how much we disapprove of the piss-poor job you're doing running the government. We got that down. But let's take it easy on Mike Johnson. He's much too busy blaming the Democrats to look up the definition of the word irony, or even to pay attention to what budget proposals the White House is making so that he can negotiate and turn the government back on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We know the president moved forward with mass layoffs. So we are also learning there were significant cuts to staff at the special education services. Are you comfortable with those cuts?
I haven't seen the specifics of that, and I don't know. I do know that each of the cabinet secretaries were asked to assist OMB to determine what the most essential programs are and what the priorities are for the policies and all of that. And I've been so busy on all this, I've not had a chance to dig into the details of each division and how it's happened. I know that HHS, for example, has cut some programs, but they were effectively all agencies in a triage situation. Because remember, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats turned off the funding for all these things that everybody cares about.
Chuck Schumer. The last time I checked, unless I recently awakened from a coma and didn't realize it, Chuck Schumer is not in charge of the federal government at the moment. He's not even in charge of one chamber of Congress. Unlike Mike Johnson, who as Speaker of the House has the power to send the House out of session, and is choosing to do that now in the middle of the shutdown instead of having people here to actually negotiate and into the shutdown. But somehow it's the mysterious, great and powerful Chuck Schumer who's to blame for all of this.
This week it will have been a month since the House has been out. Why are you keeping the House out if you have a lot of other work to do? Are you saying that you can't work on appropriations and other things while the government is shut down? And what do you say to Republicans in your own conference who are critical of the strategy of keeping the House out?
I've heard a criticism from I think 3 members on our conference call, and since our conference calls leak and they're always spun. That's the fact. You can poll individual House Republicans, maybe you should, and 98.7% of them will tell you that this is the right thing. Why? It's what you just said is the opposite of what I've said. We are working on appropriations. That work has been done in earnest. The next package of bills is being prepared. Appropriators are talking not just Republicans and Democrats, but across the aisle on that. And we can move all that forward. Right now, the House Republicans, I don't know what the Democrats are doing, but the House Republicans have been very busy. They're doing some of their best work in the district, helping their constituents navigate this crisis that's been created by Chuck Schumer and the Democrats.
If you were searching for an answer to that question in that clip, you certainly didn't find it. All you found was Mike Johnson's weird obsession with Chuck Schumer, who, quite frankly, is like the damn groundhog. He only sticks his head up out of his little burrow once a year and gets scared of his shadow and burrows right back down. And thank God that it is that time of the year, or else we'd really be screwed. But he certainly isn't this gigantic titan of policymaking that Mike Johnson seems to be making him out to be. Mike Johnson is a liar. We are in this position right now because he refuses to do his job and give a damn about the American people for 2 seconds, long enough to come up with some solutions that really can benefit the lives of his constituents. But don't take my word for it. I'm just some dingus on the internet. His own party members are speaking out against him. Take a look.
I've been here in Washington all week, and I've been at my office. I've been in the Capitol. There's 2 things I couldn't find this week. I couldn't find anywhere the Epstein files, and I also couldn't find the Republican plan to fix the absolutely destroyed health insurance industry that got wiped out in 2015 with Obamacare.
If you are planning on vacationing to hell anytime soon, make sure you pack your mittens and your coat, because that was Marjorie Taylor Greene making some sense, so I know it is frozen over. Mike Johnson is like that coworker that when you pass by her office, she randomly starts grabbing and shuffling papers together and stapling sticky notes to pretend like she's busy, only for 6 hours to go by and she only sent 1 email. Except Mike Johnson is a whole lot less skillful at it than Angie is. But in Mike Johnson's defense, he is given the undefensible to have to defend. Let's see if Vice President J.D. Vance can take a whack at it.
Let me ask you about what's happening here at home, or perhaps not happening, when it comes to negotiations to reopen the government. There were more than 4,000 layoff notices called RIFs, or reduction in force announcements, that went out Friday to workers across 7 different agencies, including Treasury and Health and Human Services. Take a listen to how the president described this.
We'll be cutting some very popular Democrat programs that aren't popular with Republicans, frankly, because that's the way it works. They wanted to do this, so we'll give them a little taste of their own medicine.
How are you deciding who gets laid off?
Well, the main thing that we're focused on, Margaret, is ensuring essential services remain open. And obviously, in a government shutdown, we have limited funds to work with because the appropriations that keep the government running have not been made. That's thanks to Chuck Schumer and the Democrats.
These aren't furloughs. These are notifications of being laid off, of losing their jobs. That's why it's a little different this time. And specifically, when it comes to what's happening within the health sector, CBS did confirm on Saturday that the Trump administration went and rescinded some of the layoffs of hundreds of CDC scientists who were mistakenly laid off on Friday and then told Saturday that's not the case. But some of them were involved with the federal measles response. Some of them were involved with the response on Ebola. How does a mistake like this happen? Did the White House even talk to the CDC?
Well, so two responses to that, Margaret. First of all, I want to assure the American people that the frontline healthcare workers, the people who monitor measles, Ebola, and other infectious diseases, those people are still on the job, and we're trying very hard to figure out how to ensure those people get a paycheck, of course, because we want them to be happy and healthy. We want them to be able to do their jobs well. But the second point, Margaret, is the government shutdown inevitably leads to some chaos. We are figuring out how to take money from some areas and give it to other areas. That chaos is because Schumer and the far left Democrats shut down the government.
4,000 layoffs, not furloughs, 4,000 layoffs in the middle of this shutdown. And the president's quote on the matter is, give them a little taste of their own medicine. It's a quote from the president in regards to laying off 4,000 people. And J.D. Vance still finds a way to try to blame Chuck Schumer and the Democrats for this. Is Chuck Schumer secretly the president of the United States of America, and he's secretly firing people and then having to rehire people because he's too incompetent to figure out what they actually do? I don't think so.
You have called on Democrats to stiffen their spines to stand up to the president of the United States. At what point, though, does this pain become too much in terms of the cost of the shutdown? And when are Democrats going to show some flexibility on this?
Well, I listened to the vice president, and he's just not living in reality.
What do you mean?
Well, because there's no negotiations happening right now because Republicans are boycotting those negotiations. They are boycotting negotiations to reopen the government because they are desperate to raise premiums on people in this country by 75% in order to finance their tax cut for the wealthy. Their only priority is protecting the billionaire class and the corporate class. The other reason the House of Representatives isn't in town right now trying to reopen the government, because they are about to have enough votes to pass a resolution mandating the release of the Epstein files.
Chris Murphy is absolutely right. Mike Johnson, J.D. Vance, President Donald Trump are indeed living in an alternative reality. A reality that they can keep the government shut down, not negotiate with any Democrats, fire thousands of federal employees, then have to secretly rehire those same federal employees and cover up the Epstein file, and we'd be stupid enough to believe that it is somehow Chuck Schumer's fault. That's the alternate reality that they're living in. And I guess Chuck Schumer is also to blame for keeping recently elected from Arizona 7th Representative-elect Grijalba from being sworn into the House of Representatives. Somehow that's probably also Chuck Schumer's fault.
So the Speaker's office has had absolutely no communication with me directly at all. So everything is going through Leader Jeffries or Whip Clark, and every person in the Democratic caucus has been so incredibly supportive, sending out their own tweets, really encouraging Speaker Johnson to swear me in. The only thing that I can point to is that I'm the 218th signer, decisive, that's going to be me to sign on to the Epstein files. And that really seems to be the only difference.
Mike Johnson, J.D. Vance, and to a lesser extent, Donald Trump are professional gaslighters. They're just very bad at it, who have not done a damn thing since being sworn into office to improve the lives of you and I. And when you have folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson speaking against you, you know you have gone too far. The healthcare system in America is in shambles, and you're not going to be able to gaslight your way around that. The American people will notice that their healthcare sucks. There's no lie that Mike Johnson can tell that's big enough to be able to obfuscate that fact. And the Epstein files, the Republican Party let the cat out of the bag on that during the election season. And you cannot gaslight the cat back in the bag. So Mike Johnson's going to have to wake up and realize that he is in a world of if he doesn't do something soon, and he won't.